Hey everybody, and welcome back. Alright, we're getting close. In fact, I think this week we'll get all the cycle parts finished, the frame and the various bits and pieces. And then probably 2 weeks to cover doing the engine, because I'm more or less guaranteed that I've forgotten to order something that we'll find as we're sort of building it up. Alright, so this week all the work is going to be on the other side. I've got a chain tensioner. I picked up a couple from my friend Mike's and chose which one seemed to work best. And we'll build a chain guard, and we've got to do a little mod. Although actually, in truth, it's not on the frame, it's something that could be done anytime. I need to make a new pedal for the rear brake lever. It's a bit low and it's a bit in. So as you'll see, what we're going to do is we're going to sort of, the one that's on it, we're going to cut it, make a little extension piece, and then weld it all together. Can't think of anything else. I've got some proper exhaust clamps for there. Oh, I have to order, see, I know I've got to order these. I've got to order those rocker blocks. Let's say I've got 3 and they're all exhaust ones, and I can't find anywhere where you can buy one. They all come in pairs. In fact, they come in pairs with the rockers. They're not expensive. They're all probably made in India for this bullet engine that's made there, but anyway, we'll see. Oh, I found a little bit of tube, so we'll do our, for those of you who are worried that that's pointing at the rear suspension unit. But as I say, I mean, I can work on the sound set anytime. What I really want to get finished is anything that is welded to the frame or swinging arm. That way we can strip down and we can paint. I've decided as well, I'm going to raise the footrests. I can only raise them half, maybe 3/4 of an inch. But I was just, when I had this down, actually I was doing some work on the C15 to get it ready for sale. It suddenly struck me that the footrests were a little low. So I did some measurements about seat height to footrests and handlebars to footrests on a couple of the other bikes, and they could do with coming up a little bit. Fortunately, I'd only tacked these, so it's just break a couple of tacks, lift them up, tack them, and then when we strip everything I'll weld them up properly. So, anything else? Nope. Let's go around and have a look what needs to be done on the other side. Alright, so as I say, everything is all on this side. Here's what I was saying about the pedal. It's just a little low. If I raise that, whatever I can raise it there, as I say, it's about 3/4 of an inch, but it's just enough. Then that pedal is going to be a bit low. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this piece off, the actual pedal piece off, and make a little bit come up here, and then weld this to that so it's more up here, actually slightly back as well. Then also, as I say, showed you this last week, I think, I've got a couple of pieces of sprocket. We'll put that on there so that it's basically, the top is a 6-inch radius, and that'll be fine. That's so annoying that that fits exactly on there. I wonder what that was off. And then I had this one which goes, oh, there's one of Mike's new fridge magnet things, trial shop. That one goes on like that. I don't like it. I'm sure it's made to go on something specific. So the one I like is this one. The chain actually goes through it. I mount that there nicely like that. That should be fine. Right, so first thing I'm going to do is take this off, because the sprocket we've got, the gearbox sprocket, is a 530, I mentioned I haven't found anywhere where I can get a 520. So what I did on the other Enfield, what we're going to do now is 520 is the same pitch, it's a different thickness to a 530. So fortunately all we're going to do is slim it down a fraction, and we're going to go and do that in the lathe with a grinder. So I'll show you that in a minute. Let me take this off. Right, so here's the new Enfield sprocket. This is for a 530 chain. This is the sprocket for a 520. Now, see there, look, the crown of one tooth matches up with the crown there. So it's the same pitch, but this is 1/4 of an inch at the root. That is basically 3/8. So we're going to take 1/8 off it. Now, last time I did this, I used an angle grinder. It's because this steel is hard, it's a job really, I would say, for a tool post grinder, which is an electrically driven grinder that fits on your tool post, so you can just move it up to here, and what you do is you spin it in the opposite direction that this is going. So as this is coming down, the grinding wheel is going up, and you just bring it in like it was a cutting tool and waffling, and you can take off hard material. This time, because I don't have a tool post grinder, so as I say, I use an angle grinder, and it's a little bit hit and miss to get it dead right. So what I'm going to do is we'll just try running this at slow speed. I've got it down at what, 200 RPM. I can go slower if need be. I've got a brazed on carbide tool here, and we'll use plenty of cutting oil, and we'll see if we can do it with this. All right, so am I taking you right out of, yeah, hang on, let me move you. Right, you're a little bit of a long way off, but at least you can see the job. Well, that's working, but as you can see, it's a slow process, so let me carry on and get it done. Right, well, got that down to 1/4 inch. I've got a piece of 520 chain here on my chain wrench. And that goes on there. Yeah. Now then, the last thing I've got to do is the sprocket. The teeth aren't sort of square at the end, they're sloped in just a little bit at the tip so that it catches into the chain and feeds the chain onto the sprocket. So I think the way I'm going to do that is with the angle grinder. What we're going to do is get this turning and just put the angle grinder to it a little bit at an angle like that. So let me set up for that. Right then, so we're just going to take a little bit off. I put my big face shield on here because I'm just going to touch that to that, and as you can see I haven't got the guard on. Now I've just checked the rotation of this and I'm going to run this in reverse. A little bit more. See, force of habit, put it on going forwards. That I think looks. Yep, that'll do it. I've got a little bit of edge from the tools turned the edge over here, so we'll just do all those with a file and then we can put that on. Oh, and if any of you are wondering about did I take it off on the right side, yes, I checked. Taking it off this side lines it up with this face on the rear sprocket. Alright, so let me finish this off. Of course I didn't think that a file wouldn't touch that, so I did it with a little carbide burr, and there we go. 520 sprocket. Let's go and pop it on the bike. Okay, that should go there like that. And somewhere kicking around here, there it is. Nut. And that should just drop on that, which it does. And hang on a second. Right, so it's difficult to get you exactly straight on this, and as I mentioned before, the wider angle lens distorts things, but I can do this. Well, you can't even see it, but I can take that to the rim there, and that's basically 1 3/8. I'll just lengthen this here and take that to the inside of there. 1 3/8. So our chain line is straight, and actually I'd had the long straight edge and that out and checked things against the chain case to make sure the wheel was right and everything. So good, we're all set, and tomorrow we will start making, do you know that misses the the mud guard there. God, I can just fold that in a little bit. I don't need to cut it, and then I'll have the nice round edge. I don't know if you can see that from there. But anyway, as I say, that's it for today. I only got an afternoon in today. So I'll see you tomorrow. Right, good morning. Here I am, all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. Although, to be perfectly honest, I have never been bright-eyed and bushy-tailed in the morning. Okay, so as you can see, I popped the chain on because that was easier for me to see where things were going to go, particularly when we do this. And it's oily new chain. So we're going to do the chain guard first, just because it's up here on the top. It'll be the easiest thing to do. I think I'm going to have to cut a piece out of this. I tapped it in a little bit, but I'm getting close to catching this when the wheel comes up. We'll see. For now, I think I can make the thing. So let me go and find a piece of cardboard. Now, as usual, this isn't a chain guard like on a road bike. You remember the fully enclosed chains we used to have on bikes? This isn't to keep the chain oil and water off your good trousers. This is just to stop mud getting off the tyre onto the chain. So it actually only needs to be yay big. Okay, so we'll have it from about here to just into there. And the other thing you'll remember is that the chain is fixed at this end, but obviously it moves up and down at that end now. And even though the chain guard moves with the swinging arm, the amount the chain moves here in relation to the swinging arm compared to how much it moves from there to there, this is negligible. So the chain guard at this end can be quite close to the chain, but down here the chain guard's got to be higher up to allow the chain to rise. Even though it's coming up with this, it doesn't quite match that. So let me go and find some cardboard. Alright, so there we go. As you can see from the amount of green tape, I did a couple of modifications of this. So that's going to go in there like thus. Goes about like that. And as I say, there's a bigger gap here. It's not huge, and there's a lesser gap there. Right, so we're going to mount it here and here, and what we'll have is we'll have a little lug on there and a little at the front there, at the back there, and then welded onto the alloy will be a boss which will be tapped. So I can just put a bolt in each one. Alright, so let me go and transfer this to some alloy. Right, well, I transferred the shape to some alloy and cut it out, and I've marked on where the two bends are, making sure that I've marked it on the right side, because believe me, with a shape like this, there's nothing worse than you bend it, when you go to put it on, you realise you've bent it that way. So that is right, and we're going to try and use this. Now, I took that thing off the back, and I ground off the diamond shaped things that were the guides for it, so that will go under there now. Right, and I think I might be able to do both of these and be able to get it out. This thing not coming off the top is a real problem. I don't know what I'm going to do about that. It can't be cast as one. I haven't had time to give it a long look at, but anyway, here we go. Oh, I bolted it down. Okay. You watch, I won't be able to get this out. Well, I think I can. I tell you what, that's a lot easier than bending it on the bench. Now then, which bit comes off? I'll take that bit off. I thought I'd be able to get enough of a slide on that to be able to get it through. I just can't. So hang on, let me take this bit off. Well, that almost worked perfectly. I think it's because the gap isn't it, because I can't actually bring this down to press on there, so there's a little bit of a gap. So it didn't make it 2 right angles, but by gum, that's nicer. As I say, it's a lot quicker than battering it about. So let me just bend that over, and of course I didn't anneal this either. You might have seen it spring back slightly. And also I think it's partly because of that being a knife edge. Okay, let me just finagle this slightly. So there it is on. I am going to have to cut a piece out of here because this is, hang on, let me walk around to the other side. Because it is, you see that moving, it is pressing on there when I do that. And actually that's touching there, so I'm going to have to bend that in a bit. So let me go and try that. Actually I didn't have to worry about it touching this, did I? It suddenly struck me, not when I cut that piece out. So that's cut out. I was able to get in there and cut it out actually without having to take the mudguard off, which with having the airbox and everything on isn't that easy a job. So that's fine now, so I want that to go there. About like that. So I reckon we need to have one out there. Well, there, I should be able to get the cranked Allen thing in. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is drill a 1/4 inch hole in there, make up a couple of little bosses which we'll thread, I'll show you them, and then we'll bolt them to it and weld them up. Now that is 3/4 of an inch across there, so we'll make them about 1/2 inch long. That gives plenty of thread for actually that one will have to be longer than 1/2 inch, won't it? So measure it, Michael, don't guess, measure. Measure, 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 measure. Right, this one wants to be 1/2 inch, this one, actually I could make it 1 inch. It goes on about like that. I'll make it 7/8. Okay, right then, so here we are. We've got our 1/2 inch one for there, and that one for there. Now what we're going to do is screw that in from the back to hold it, weld it, do the same with that one. This was another little find at that place where I got the almost break and what have you. It's a nice big thick piece of alloy. I've been looking for a nice chunk of alloy like that to act as a heat sink on the welding table when I'm doing things like this. It'll pull the heat out beautifully. Alright, so let me get that welded on, those I should say, welded on there. So there's the 2 bosses welded on.
So now I've got to position this where I want it, and then we've got to make a couple of tabs. So this tab, this is 3/4 round, so that tab only needs to be about 1 inch high. No, that one doesn't need to be. Where's it supposed to be? It's supposed to be about like that. Yeah, probably 1 inch there. Let me get a measure. All right. Yeah, 1 inch tall is fine for that. And that wants to be about there. Yeah, 1 inch. I'll make 2 1-inch ones. That should work fine. Right, so there's the 2 little tabs. And I got various bits packing this so that it's held in the right place. So let me run a bit of bronze along each of them. And actually I might just bronze the ends. Because if I do one side it's going to pull it over. So I'll bronze the ends, and then when I got the swinging arm off I can bronze them fully. And there they are. As I say, I've just bronzed them each end. Now I've got a couple of blobs on either side when I do this to hold it, and then I can do them properly. Alright, so next thing is this. So the first thing we're going to do, where is it? Where am I? That runs on that little bush. This is alloy, that's steel just pressed in. So we're going to decide where we're going to do that. But first of all, we'll make up the mounting for that, because the chain's got to go through there. Then I'll put the chain through and we'll move this around till we know where it's going to be, and then we can tack it. Right, now I'm going to make this bracket in 3 pieces, 2 sides and a top, because this thing here is only about 1/2 inch. So I didn't think I could take some 1/8 inch and bend a U that would work. So I've cut 2 sides, and as I say, I'll measure it, cut a top. The tape is, this is going to be clamped up on the centre bush, right? The centre bush is slightly longer than the depth of what it runs in, so you can tighten it up and it'll still move. We're going to have paint on these, so a couple of layers of tape means that I've taken into account the paint, or at least given myself a little leeway. So that goes on there, that goes on there. Tighten this down. Just enough so that it will hold it flat. Alright, and then we want, that is just under 11/16. So I don't want it to go right to the edge. I want it to have sort of 2 faces so I can weld it up nicely. So I will make that 9/16. So let me go and cut a piece of this 9/16. Now I'll cut the piece for there. So that will go on there. Whoops. As I say, I've got an edge both sides to weld into, to get right into the end of the upright and the end of the horizontal piece. Okay, so the welder's still over by the bike. I'll have to take it over and rig it up over there somehow. Right, sorry about that, I was just checking to see I was recording. So there it is, made up. And you can see you get, by not letting them lap, you get the 2 edges, you get full penetration into both pieces, so that's really good and strong. So let me put this thing together. I've dropped the chain off, I'll put the chain through and then we'll see where we're going. Right, well this is a bit of a tight fit here. I was going to put it back here. That literally has it touching the tyre. It's got to come out here. Ooh, I'm going to have to cut a little bit off the bottom of my chain guard to give myself a little bit more space there. Let me do that. Right, well, this is upward because the angle that the swinging arm is coming out at. This virtually doesn't hit it. I could have almost put a piece of plate and bolted to the plate. I can put it about there, but it's not touching anything. So what I'm going to have to do is put a bend in this, bend in that, and bring this over. There'll be plenty of space for the chain. So I carried the pen away. Let me mark this. Right. So bend it there. And there. Right. I'm just going to take this block off, save taking the chain off all the time. Alright. I put a dog leg in it, for want of a better term. And actually, that's proved to be very useful because, of course, it's moved this end away from the tyre. So now I can move it up there. Like that. Actually, that needs twisting up this way a little bit. It's not quite vertical, but that can go in there. It's well away from the tyre. I know my hands are in the way, but I can't do any other. And then that will, and where is it? This bit will go and get put on something up there. All right. Well, it's gone 5 o'clock, so that's it for today. See you tomorrow. Right, there we are. A little bit of tweaking, and I've got it fastened on under there and there. So that's now everything's straight. This spring will go up here. I just marked under there. Got a little mystery. Maybe our welding viewers can tell us. I've got the earth fastened on the front engine plate, clamped on there. And I noticed when I bronzed this, the chain is hot. Now I've just done the tiniest little bronze down there. The chain is hot. Obviously current going through it, but I don't really understand it because I'm not welding on the chain. There's no current going through the chain, and the chain isn't even attached to the frame. I mean, it is very loosely. Isn't that odd? Okay, so that's that done. That will get finished off, same as these when we strip everything. All seems to be nice. It's vertical, it's straight. Okay, now, yeah, you can see I've got a couple of little tacks. I'll break them off. I'm going to move this up and then do the same on the other side. So I've moved the footrests up, welded two sides actually for that. Interesting thing, look, that is hot. Chain completely cold. Earth clamp is still in the same place. So when I welded on that, it got hot. Might be because that's touching there. Oh, hang on. Keep talking to you, don't I? And you can't see. I was just saying it might be because that is touching on there. I don't know. If any of you noticed that was touching there, don't forget the suspension's right down. Once the back wheel comes up, that won't touch. And certainly when you're riding it, it won't touch. But I'm going to make a little rubbing thing there because it's actually on the edge of the box. This, to be honest, is one of the slight drawbacks of this system of using a box to mount the swinging arm in. See, the swinging arm is right down here. The actual tube, it's right down there. It must be half an inch lower, almost. So, you know, that wouldn't be a problem. Next bike, next project, we're not going to use this type of frame. But as a little preview, I'll say we are going to build a frame. Alright, so that's done. The next thing to do, swing you down again, is this. Right, so I will put the chain case back on so we can see where that pedal is going. Alright then, so what's the plan for here? You may have noticed it's raining again, which for once I don't mind, because if it was colder it would be snowing. The rain had to put up with. Right, we're actually going to shorten this a little bit. Then I've cut this piece off and I have slotted it there. We're going to slim this down a little bit, put a piece in here. Actually, I've got a piece of round stock which is exactly that size, so what I'll probably do is just pop a bit of that in and weld it up. Then the idea is we're going to make a piece out of this which is going to come up here, right? So like a J shape, and that J shape will will fit into that like that, so that, hang on, yes, sorry, will fit into that. I'm thinking this won't work. Of course it will, because it'll only go to there. It'll fit into there, so it'll be shaped so it goes in like my finger, and then we'll have a pin in there that will fold up if we bump into something. Alright, so it'll be shaped hang about. It will be shaped like only pen's giving up now, like that. Right, that will go in that way, so that'll be onto this, that'll go onto there, that'll be on there, and that'll be able to flip up, and that'll bring it out and up, so it's better for my foot. Right, so actually that's not bad, I might cut that. Alright, so that's the mark where I want the footrest to be up to. Okay, there's that piece, there's that piece. I went slightly awry, so I've got to do a little bit of tidying up. But we put that in there like thus. Right, and then that will go on there. Actually, when I cut this end off, it will go up slightly higher. And if we bump, it folds about the way. And it is right where I want it to be, see? Okay, so obviously to take this pedal off, I've got to take this through bolt out. So I'll do that. Where are we? this through bolt out, at least knock it far enough back to drop this out. So I'll cut this end off, and actually what I might do is sort of cut it off here and leave that little bit on, so I've got more to weld this to. I'm pretty sure 1/4 inch alloy is going to be more than strong enough for that, because one of the things, don't forget, is it's a disc brake. I'm not going to be stamping on it. You know, some trials bikes I've ridden when I'm going downhill, I've literally, instead of being standing on the footrest, I've been standing on the rear brake lever. But with a disc brake, we don't need to do that. Alright, so let me get that off there and get this bit welded on. So there that is. A little bit of filing and finagling. I can take a little bit off to get this slightly higher there. But that's fine. I might make, in fact I think I will, another pedal top for it, because as you can see, you know, this should be on the other side, so this would be the leading edge. So I don't like that sticking out there like that. I could see if I cut it off and turn it around. I don't know, I might be able to. It's a pity I can't just turn it upside down, but I can't, because of course there's no grips on the other side. But anyway, if need be, I'll make another pedal that'll fit on there, and I've got the thing already so it'll flip up. So that is that done. Let's press on. Alright, there is something I've forgotten, and funnily enough I forgot it with the opener and had to retrofit them, and that is steering stops. Now this has a really low yoke, and there aren't any bumps anywhere, any mountains on the frame. So what I've done is I've made a couple of tubes, right? They will go on there like that, and the steering will come up to that. I'm doing it basically, Nick Andrews told me years ago that what I want is the two forks to go sort of almost down. You can't obviously get them dead straight, but you get them sort of as close as you can, so it's in a line down the frame. Okay, and just to make them look a bit better, I've made some little alloy end pieces to put in as well, so they'll go in there. I'm not putting them in yet because, you know, when I start welding this, I'll heat the air up in there, and like if you try to completely weld up a closed end, you'll keep getting a hole. I don't want to blow them out. Alright, so let me set to and do that. Alright, there's the two of them just tack bronzed on to start with. Let's say I might put a little piece in here. I haven't decided yet. Let me zoom you out. So that's up against one stop. Excuse me, that was in the way. That's up against the other stock, and as I say, stop. We've got this one more or less in line with the top tube, which my mate Mick, actually I saw him on a video the other day, still prattling around. I haven't spoken to him for a while. There you go. I think that will be fine. Right, the last thing we have to do is I've got to pull the electronic ignition out and see if I need to put any mountings on for those bits and pieces. Right, well I should have remembered this. I've put enough of these things on, haven't I? Okay, so that we will put up in there as usual. Right, but of course what we do have is a coil to put on. So we have that coil to put on, and there is the little bracket to mount it. And actually I've forgotten about this coil, and I've moved the welder, so I'll decide where I'm going to put this, and then we'll put it on Now then, let's think. Let's think all here. Hang on, let me bolt that on there. Right, I did have a clever idea for putting this right up inside there and still being able to bolt it on. But I got to thinking, do these things need to be kept cool? I don't know. To be perfectly honest, a lot of this modern stuff just goes straight by me. So I'm not going to risk it. See, I was going to put it right up in there. And what I was going to do was drill a 1/4 inch hole all the way through and then drill a 5/8 hole here so that I could get a socket in on the nut. But the more I think about it, the less I like that idea. I think I might just put it there. If I put it there, hang on, let me get a bit of tape. Not a lot of space here now. I put that low down. I'm going to put it a bit lower. I'll put that about there. Now I normally bend these, don't I? That'll be about there, like that. That's going to be it. I'm not going to show you me putting these on here because it's getting near to the end of what I can do this week, and I've actually moved the welder. I don't have to go and get the welder back and get all that reconnected over here just for this. Oh yeah, it's getting on well. Or maybe, can I come out tomorrow for a bit? I might be able to. So I won't say goodbye because it might not be goodbye, but I will say I'll see you tomorrow. Alright, now I should be in my armchair with a glass of Glenfiddich reading my Ian Rankin novel, but just for you I've stayed out here, bolted that on, welded this up, everything's right. And before I get lots of comments, actually you probably will be able to get that off. Maybe not with the coil on, but anyway, how often do you take your rocker boxes off? So I think that is everything for the frame. So I'll strip the bike now, do the last little bits of bronzing. Yeah, that's it. I can get it stripped and painted, and next week we'll start on the engine and gearbox. So until then, you stay safe and enjoy yourselves.